Every single jump, every jump, every move, break, every breakaway, every cross, every every three.
We are inside the locker room, and inside the locker room, it's always lively, energetic. We get to have fun, and you can represent country, whatever country, or the club that you choose to represent. Welcome here because we talk all kinds of sports every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 15 minutes past 8 o'clock. My name is Oluwaseun, and as always, I have joining me to analyze and to discuss the top sports stories from around the world. Please make welcome the one and the only Tega. Good morning.
Good morning, Lagos or Nigeria, not even Lagos. In fact, good morning, the world, because Lanre from the abroad may be listening.
That's right.
Yes, how are you doing? I hope you've had a good week so far. All right, so on today's story, you don't need we don't have 30 days for you, but you can have a 30-minute rant. All right. Um, inside the locker room. You can have your 30-minute rant. It's your therapeutic session, whatever is on your mind this morning. You can vent on us. Oh, sorry, vent to us.
To
Don't
us.
vent on me. I'm not the one. Yeah, I didn't hire anybody's coach and I didn't send anybody's players. So, all right. We'll be talking about the World Cup qualifiers from Africa. Today, we'll also touch a little bit on tennis. Because we know the Miami Open is ongoing all the way in the United States of America. We'll touch a little bit on that. Um, we'll talk about how Argentina took on Brazil this time without Lionel Messi and what the outcome was. So all of that story. And then for those of you that are on social media and follow a certain guy called Joey Barton, who said that there was no African defender that could match Jimmy Carragher. What an insult. We'll talk about how he's been found guilty of kicking his wife in the head. That's why you shouldn't listen to certain people. All right. So all of that and more inside the locker room this morning. But before we do any talking, she'll tell us how can we be a part of the locker room today?
Yes, in case you want to kick somebody in the head with words, not legs. 0809-444-0981. Again, 0809-444-0981 is the number to send your messages to. And you can join us on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. It's always fun there in the live chat option. So, YouTube is at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. That's right. Let's get started now, shall we? We're starting with some tennis, and this one from the Miami Open. World number 2, Iga Swiatek, is receiving additional security at the Miami Open after she was harassed by a spectator during her practice. Tega.
Hold on. No need to rush. So an interesting one. And so the WTA is now having to take security measures over this. So it has gone from players getting insulted and abused online to people coming to the stadium to heckle and really abuse players. So remember, I think it was a few months ago, some athletes were now posting uh, the online abuses they get when they lose matches. Even more recently was Mira Andreeva. Remember how she was on a 13-match winning streak and then she won two Masters titles. She's a 17-year-old girl. Then she lost at the Miami Open, and the abuses that they were sending her, the threats, not just abuses, verbal abuses, the threats were sending her online. you, oh, I hope you die, I will kill you, I will do this, just because she lost the match. Like, she's not sad enough that her winning streak has been ended. You think that it is your threat that is going to make her want to win the match. So she had shared that. Also, I think it was about a month ago, when Emma Raducanu match had to be stopped halfway because she saw somebody in the crowd who had been stalking her, and security had to move him out. So for Iga Swiatek, it was this was during a training session, so she was practicing before her match, and somebody in the crowd approached her and started verbally abusing her. And so now they can't stop people from buying tickets. You can't tell if somebody is violent, or if he's abusive, or if he's even sane, by just looking at him. That's
There
what
is
it
that.
is these days. Yeah, so you could sell tickets to anybody, and then he'll come into the stadium and until he starts misbehaving before you know exactly what to do with him. And so now she has to walk around with extra security because some people do not know how to act. And it's just so sad. It's not like heckling doesn't happen in many sports. I mean, you see it in NBA games where players say this guy needs to be thrown out, or that guy needs to be thrown out, but it's becoming a little more aggressive, and
Mm.
it's becoming a little more physical, because with the women's tennis players, they used to show us the threats that they received online. But now these people are coming to the stadiums. And if you remember, some years ago, Monica Seles was stabbed in the back, and that just changed the trajectory of her career completely. In fact, she was never the same after that. And that was a woman that I knew was on the way to breaking many records. She was stabbed in the back, not for anything, but because somebody was angry that she came into the tennis world and she was beating his favorite tennis player. That was the end of Monica Seles' career. So when you think about all those kind of incidents, it becomes very worrisome. But yeah, the WTA's first measure, at least for now, is to provide extra security for Iga Swiatek. I don't know if there's anything more they can do about the online abuses. Yes, they can report them to their social media platforms. But with a lot of social media platforms removing a lot of the restrictions they had over the years, it's a bit tedious now. Tough one for Iga, very tough one.
The human race. I don't know. We'll move on to the next story, and this one is about World Athletics saying on Tuesday that it had approved the introduction of a cheek swab test to determine if an athlete is biologically female.
Oh yes, so this is the one that I think is going to turn heads now. So with all the talks about transgender and DSD, now DSD is difference in sex development athletes. So there are some athletes that, not by their choice, not by their decision, they were born that way. So they'd probably be born with internal testes, or they'll be born with higher levels of testosterone. So they didn't do anything to get there. Intersex athletes, they didn't do anything to get there. They were just born like that. But to keep on the fairness and the integrity of the athletics of the sport, there are some rules that were put in place for such athletes. And with transgender taking over the space right now, people questioning whether men should be able to compete in women's sports. I didn't even want to think that it should be a debate. Athletics have taken this bold step to say, you know what, we are going to, they wanted to carry out other tests, but they're saying those tests are so invasive, those tests are intrusive, and all the rule of law and everything that people have to jump over. And so they've been able to now get legal backing to do a swab test. At least swab test is not invasive. During COVID, people did swab test. So swab test is not invasive. So they just take a saliva sample from the mouth. Now, one of the reasons they can do that is that there's a SY, I think it's called a SRI, or SRY, that is predominant in the Y chromosome, in the male chromosome. So if they do a swab test and they find out that it's predominant in your mouth, then you are biologically male. But if there's still any confusion after the saliva swab test, then they can use a blood sample. Now, they would take blood samples every day. So again, that's less invasive. But yeah, the IAAF are saying that they're taking as many chances as possible to protect the gender equality, especially when it comes to racing. Now, this is just for the IAAF when we're talking about world championships and possibly the Olympics. In America, at the NCAA level, there are still transgender boys that are competing in women's sports.
I'm
And
sure
that
Trump has not
needs,
noticed.
yeah, that no, he has, but he can't just pass it. And again, he can't just pass a law because he said it, but to get it passed would require a lot of things. To get it passed will still require a lot of things. So ultimately, we're coming down to the wording, and that's why I say you cannot just open your mouth and say things when you are the president of a country that has allowed certain things to happen. You have to go legalistic, and there's a simple legalistic method. It's just that he wanted to bulldoze his way through it. That's the problem with him. It's not that some of his policies are not good. It's that he thinks he can just say it and it will happen. So there's legalistic steps that can be taken to protect, the gender competition. It's just that he wanted to just talk and expect it to happen, and that can't happen. So yes,
Because
I
they
like
stop
what
and do.
I like that's not talk and do. That's just let's not go there. But what it is, the IAAS have will keep taking steps to ensure that men do not compete in women's sports. We hope this will extend to boxing.
All right. And now the moment we've all been waiting for. Yesterday at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Nigeria's hopes of a place at the 2026 FIFA World Cup went back to being in the balance after Zimbabwe netted a last-minute equalizer to leave the West Africans off the pace in Group C.
Yep, completely off the pace in Group C because South Africa are on 13 points after winning their own match against Benin Republic by 2-0, and Nigeria on 7 points after 6 matches. 7 points from 6 matches. Only 1 win so far. And before you start blaming Eric Shell, what did Eric Shell not do? Why didn't Eric Shell do this? Why didn't Eric Shell do that? Remember that Nigerian Super Eagles have had 3 coaches that brought Nigeria here. Jose Pesero was in charge of the first 2 games. He had 2 draws there, including 1 draw against Lesotho. George Finidi took charge of the next 2 games. He had 1 draw, 1 loss against Benin Republic. And now Eric Shell is coming. He's taking charge of these 2 matches, and he's had 1 win and 1 draw. The only constant in the 6 matches are the footballers. The coach has changed. Some venues have changed. The only constant are the Super Eagles. At this point in time, should you have any questions about the results or the performance, I don't think we should keep saying, the coach doesn't know his 11. This, that. We should start asking the players, do you want to go to America like Eddie Murphy? Or perhaps you want to miss another World Cup? Because remember, they missed the Qatar World Cup. We want to miss back-to-back World Cups. So on this note, we will open when we come back from this break, we'll open the phone lines, we'll take your messages. You can have your part of your 30 minutes rant on what your thoughts are about the Super Eagles of Nigeria making it to the 2026 FIFA World Cup when we come back from the break.
You can start to type your messages now, and the WhatsApp line is 0809-444-0981. YouTube is at Smooth981FM Lagos. Go there and drop a comment in the live chat option. We'll be right back.
So when we come back from this break, we'll just intro opening this lines again, opening these lines for communication, and then we'll go to Argentina, Brazil. People that know what they are doing.
What about the messages? We're not taking the messages?
No. That's what I'm saying. We'll open the lines of communication. So opening the lines of communication is repeating that they can send their messages, um, and then taking a few messages. Only
Right.
Super Eagles messages, please.
Sure.
So we'll take two, or 3 before we go to the Argentina match.
All right. Good morning, Kunle Windapo. Right? I hope I got the pronunciation of your name. Good morning. All right, we're back. Love music, love life. You are listening to Locker Room on Smooth 98.1. It's the 26th of March. It's now 32 minutes past 8 o'clock, and you are welcome to join the conversation. The WhatsApp line to send your messages to, especially as the queen of the locker room, Tega, has given you the right to vent about the World Cup qualifiers, Nigeria, Zimbabwe. Now, the messages should go to 0809 444 0981. You can also join us on YouTube at Smooth 981 FM Lagos, at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. We shall do some messages before we move on, and I'll start with YouTube. Uchenna Onwokoye says, Naija, when you play well and don't convert your chances, you will always get punished. 4 games to go, there's still hope for the playoffs. I also love that we are supporting the coach, unlike others before. And Abiodun Obisheson says, yeah, Zimbabwe players. We've put him down, PhD syndrome. They had no chance of qualifying, but dragged Nigeria with them in the mud. Yeah, country. AY on WhatsApp says, when Osimhen was coming off in the 86th minute, he was yelling at his teammates to encourage them to see out the 1-0 victory till the final whistle. But unfortunately, they crumbled and conceded in the last minute of additional time. Now we're back to using our calculators to calculate our chances to qualify for the World Cup. Lanre from the abroad says, Lanre from the abroad, he's always listening, ladies. A couple of friends who follow the Eagles on Snap told me not to expect anything from the players because what they were saying didn't look like a bunch of serious people, from diets to general discipline. Why do they come into the national team to do things they can't do in their clubs, extra torches? Trying to show off on the pitch, etc. We went from 2nd to 4th in 60 seconds. Chai, the pain. Well, we'll move on now, right? Tega?
Yes, we move on. That was painful, yes. Because if they had won that match, they'd be second on the table, just with 9 points. They'd not be too far off from South Africa, knowing that they're still going to face South Africa. But at this point in time, we're not bringing out calculators. They haven't taken us to calculators. They've taken us to NSPPD. That's where we are now. So it's not calculator that is your problem. You have a praying chance. You're waiting for a literal miracle. The one tantamount to Peter walking on water. That kind of miracle is what you're looking for. The Red Sea crossing miracle. That's what you're looking for. His calculator is not the problem. If we are going by calculator, we are out. We have a praying chance now.
Some faith. What God cannot do does not exist. Have some
faith.
Me,
I know that I'm going to America. Whether the Super Eagles will meet me there is their own question. I'm a broadcast journalist, okay? I'm objective and unbiased. I'm not a Super Eagles content producer. All right, let's go on to other World Cup qualifiers from other continents.
Argentina is heading to the 2026 FIFA World Cup as the defending champions with an emphatic statement, dismantling Brazil and their boastful captain Rafinha in a commanding 4-1 victory. Wow.
All I can say, exactly. Wow is the exact thing. And they were without Lionel Messi. You have to remember that their little magician is not there. Their captain, their commander is not there. He's injured, out injured, and having a good time with his sons and his wife. So these guys went onto the pitch understanding what needed to be done. Against Uruguay, it was really tough and physical because you know how it is in South America. As much as they have all the skills and all the dribblers and all the tricks and flicks, it is a very physical continent. So you're not just afraid that somebody is going to embarrass you with a dribble. You are afraid that somebody is going to hack you down with a tackle that the referee will not even give a card for. And so it was a very physical match against Uruguay. They were dodging injuries when they came up against Uruguay. They still managed to come out with a 1-0 victory. Then they faced Brazil. Now, this is a Brazil that's trying to revive itself with the likes of Vinicius Junior in form. The FIFA gave best player of the year. You have a Cunha who is doing great things for Wolverhampton Wanderers, even if he got a suspension for violent behavior. You have a Rafinha who people are talking about himself and Ballon d'Or in the same breath because of his form for Barcelona. So you're looking at a Brazil side that is resurgent. However, Argentina at home still did the job. Got two early goals first from Julian Alvarez, who is fantastic for Atletico Madrid, and Enzo Fernandez, who is doing good things for Chelsea. And then Brazil scored a goal to come back into the match at 2-1, and they went in there at halftime. But when they came back from the half, Argentina refused to remove their hands from their neck. They suffocated them, choked them, scored 2 more goals, and that match ended 4-1 in favor of Argentina. Argentina now on 31 points, 10 clear of Brazil. Those are people that mean business. Those are people that want to go to America. Lionel Messi is waiting for them there. So they have decided they are going to join their commander there, whether he plays with them or not. And that's a country that understands what they have to do, their home soil, regardless of who is coming up against them. And Super Eagles had bottom of the group, Zimbabwe. It was the way they considered that goal. Like the player collected the ball. Osai, I can't really blame Osai too much because first of all, Osai had a decision to make. Should he follow the guy that was running on his out wing or should he cover the inside? He decided to follow the guy that was going on his out wing. The player I think was at fault was Trustekong. The way he defended that ball. The player was running at him, put your body on the line. Instead, he stretched out a leg. If you stretch out a leg, one of two things can happen. The player will beat you with his run, or he will trip over your leg and it's a penalty. So the tactics Trustekong chose was questionable. And he's the more experienced or the most experienced defender in that lineup. So when you look at it at the end of the day, you can talk about Eric Schell not locking up shop, but ultimately, every good plan comes down to the players executing it on the pitch. And the players executing it on the pitch on the day failed in the 90th minute. So you look at Argentina blitzing through their own continent, and then you look at Nigeria struggling against Zimbabwe.
Yeah, the country has 2 heads, if you know what I mean. They have 2 heads. We don't. Well, Trent Alexander-Arnold is closing in on a move to Real Madrid when his Liverpool contract expires at the end of the season. This is according to reports yesterday.
Yes, really, it's a tricky one because throughout the season, there were rumors that he was even going to sign this contract as early as January. And some fans would be angry with you that, you are getting distracted because you're not giving them your all, especially when you're a homeboy like Trent Alexander is. And at the time they were going for a quadruple. Now they are only going for the Premier League, which, if you ask me, they are convincingly winning, except by some miracle of bad form, they drop a lot of points. But yes, it looks like Trent Alexander-Arnold is on his way to Real Madrid. Now fans are getting angry. They used to sing "You Never Walk Alone" before. Now they're singing "Traitor," "Betrayal," all those things that people don't have. They're singing a lot of songs, but hey, if you're a footballer, ultimately you have to move for your career because fans can be finicky at some point. 1 minute you're their best friend, the next minute you're the worst enemy. So you have to do what's good for you. And for Trent Alexander-Arnold, what's better than Real Madrid coming to knock on your door? You move with the champions.
All right, we move on to Thomas Tuchel insisting Harry Maguire will always be in contention for England despite overlooking the Manchester United defender for his first 2 games in charge.
Yeah, and the question came up. You know how it is with the British journalists; they'll ask you every uncomfortable question in the book. And the question came up after he had picked 2 teams, and especially the team against Latvia, where he really went to pick England Team C with a sprinkling of some elite players. You know, the likes of Bellingham was still playing, but he gave chances to other players that would normally not have a look in, like Eberechi and the rest. And then they're asking if you are picking these players for the team, why didn't you still pick Harry Maguire? And he said, look, Harry Maguire is always going to be a constant. I just didn't pick him for these 2 matches. Now, whether he's making excuses or whether he's real is left to be seen. Because again, like I said, if you are picking, if a lot of players got a chance to play in these 2 matches against Albania and Latvia, and Maguire didn't get a chance, it's a genuine question to ask whether he's part of your plans. But then again, maybe he considered the fact that he already knows what Harry Maguire can do, and he wanted to see what others could do. Let's wait to see when he picks. But the good news is, Thomas Tuchel has mouth. Why? He won his 2 matches. At the end of the day, you may argue with a man's methods, you can't argue with results.
All right, we'll take the one now about Joey Barton, guilty of kicking his wife in the head. He's been found guilty of assault by beating after pushing his wife to the floor and kicking her in the head.
All right, so Joey Barton is that England footballer that people never really saw what he could do on the pitch, because both him, his brothers, and everybody else was distracted by what he did off the pitch. This is not the first violent fight he's gotten in off the pitch. This is not even the first violent fight his family members have gotten in to off the pitch. So he's from a troubled background, and football did not change his story. So regardless of the fact that he's older now and you expect that he'll be wiser, he's still kicking his wife in the head. We're waiting to see what the full sentence would be. We already know what the sentence for that is, but considering his previous violent record, and again, whether you like it or not, his celebrity status as a footballer, judgments could differ. So we're waiting to see how that pans out. But ultimately, this is one of the reasons why those of you that engage him on social media shouldn't be engaging with him on social media, regardless of what he says. No matter how infuriating, just remember, he's a guy that kicks his wife in the head. And move on.
Finally, we're taking a story about former FIFA president Sepp Blatter and celebrated French footballer Michael Platini being cleared of corruption charges relating to allegations of fraud at the global footballing body.
Yeah, this is the second time they are both found not guilty of engaging in fraud. I remember they were kicked out of football because of corruption. So now that they have been cleared twice, I don't know if we're going to see them back. I mean, Sepp Blatter is pretty old. He shouldn't be looking to run any administrative duties. But Michel Platini is not too far gone. He can still get a chance. The thing is, ultimately, both of them wanted to clear their name. Ultimately, both of them wanted something to at least still do with decision making in football. I don't know if it's to hold an official position or to just hold an important opinion. But what it is now they've been cleared of corruption, the thing that kicked them out of football. So they have the opportunity to come back. The question is, in what capacity? That's what we'll find out in the next coming months.
I'll run through some messages as we bring it to a close. On YouTube, Ayanfe Dada says, Argentina beat Brazil like thieves during the early hours of this morning by 4-1. Rafinha couldn't put his performance where his mouth is, cho without any workings. Plus, Dane from Queen's Drive says, all kinds of melodramatic tantrums have always existed on the tennis court during games and competitions ever since the time of Monica Seles and Steffi Graf. There are different types of psychopaths everywhere who probably don't like the color of your skin, the way you talk or play, and maybe they feel they're a threat to their hero. Then bang, pop goes the weasel. I don't know why players have to be satisfied with just one goal lead. Players shouldn't feel comfortable until when they have a goal difference of 2. And Cruz says, good morning, beautiful ladies. Tega is our hope slim now, or the flame for the touch don't finally die. My calculator not the work again. Zicolo
I've told
says,
you it's not a calculator, it's miracle you need. Miracle.
yes, I agree with you, Tega, that you are not biased though, but not when talking about Messi or Arsenal, Sha. Nigeria has no business at the World Cup. We don't deserve to be there. Shego from
Mm.
Mina says, hi guys, it's so sad that we're on the verge of missing another World Cup. A team with 7 points after 6 matches has no business being at the World Cup. If we don't qualify, heavens will not fall. After all, four-time champions Italy hasn't qualified for 2 consecutive World Cups and heavens didn't fall. Let those deserving of World Cup qualify in peace. I just pity Major Osimhen. He might have to wait till he clocks 32 before he features at the World Cup, and that's if we qualify for the 2030 World Cup. Tayo from Aja says, water that I'm supposed to drink is now being poured on my head to calm me down. I'm not doing any calculation with anybody. Nigeria is true as it is with my abacus. Excuse me. I guess this type of disappointment is what Arsenal fans feel. How far was
Yeah,
the ineligible, Tayo, how far with the ineligible South Africa footballer? Rafinha is
exactly. So that's another question. Let me answer that question. How far with the ineligible player? So they were said to have fielded South Africa said to have fielded an ineligible player, but according to the FIFA rule, you had to make the complaints within 24 hours. So I don't know if that one, except in extenuating circumstances, can then look further. But if you didn't make the complaint within 24 hours, then according to the FIFA rule, there's nothing they can do about it. But let's wait to see, because Libya has complained. Lesotho has filed a report, and the Super Eagles are looking to make a case for it. I don't know what that will get to if they eventually um, look at the case. But ultimately, if you didn't file within 24 hours, it becomes tricky to start even addressing the situation.
Thank you for your
All right.
time. Oh, Taya says that Nigeria can beat the sorry lot with Tega and Sheun's coaching. Ha! I'll pour water on people's heads. That's my
You
job.
put water on my head. All right. So that will thank you for sending your messages via WhatsApp. Thank you for streaming on YouTube. And thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the local room. So we'll come your way again on Friday when we'll be moving back towards club football. Have a good
Yeah.
week.
Thank you. And Smooth Breakfast continues because 9 o'clock, Lagos, we need to talk. And what are we talking about? Street begging. Join us 9 o'clock. My name is Oluwaseun Olusegun. Bye.